Hi, my name's Angela Casey and welcome to Edinburgh Outdoors, the podcast that explores Edinburgh's green spaces and the people in them. I'm in a very windy Bonaly today in gorgeous sunshine, and I'm doing something a bit different because I'm meeting a team of people from the green team, and what we're doing is we've actually joined some 8 to 12-year-old kids who are on some outdoor activities here today, and they're going up the hill, they're running around in the woods and doing all sorts of active play, which we'll talk about in a minute. And yeah, it's lovely. The wind is blowing though, so it's going to be a windy podcast, but we're up a hill, so that's allowed. And I'm going to meet a number of people from the green team today, including Penny Radway, who is co-chief executive. And so welcome to Edinburgh Outdoors, Penny.
Thank you, Angela. It is a pleasure to be sitting in this lovely woods with you in the sunshine.
So, Penny, tell me about your role and about what you do and about the organisation a bit.
Well, this is an organisation that is very special to me. I have been with the Green Team for 25 years this year, and we are also celebrating 30 years of the Green Team in 2025. Originally, the Green Team started as a project of the Duke of Edinburgh's Award, and it was aimed originally at young people who were aged 14 to 25, for whom there was no outdoor or volunteering opportunities. And it very much started as a few projects a year, some residentials, but it was very much focused on 14 to 25s who were doing Duke of Edinburgh. And in the early years, I realised that there was a bit of a gap. We were not reaching young people who might want to get involved, who maybe weren't doing Duke of Edinburgh Award, or who maybe lacked the support from home or school to enable them to engage in that sort of thing. So we started widening our programmes really to reach more young people of different ages and just to be a little bit more inclusive. So fast forward to 2025, and we have programmes for preschool children called Nature Play, where children of ages 2 and 3 get to spend time outside. They make mud, they play with sticks, they're dressed for the weather, their parents attend and the parents get to talk to other parents, so it's very good for people who are new to the city perhaps. And it just gives parents that idea that their kids really like being outside. And it's so important connecting to nature and young people realising that the great outdoors is such a wonderful place to be. And the earlier we do that in our lives, the more it just builds a lifelong love of nature. And we also work with primary schools. So we have a couple of members of staff who go into primary schools and take classes out either to the school grounds or to a local park or green space, and they look at the environment, they look at nature, they often do a little bit of a litter pick, they might do a survey. But again, it's a different way of connecting with nature and connecting with the natural environment.
Yeah.
A huge focus of the work we do is probably with teenagers, so 12, 13, 14-year-olds, young people who are struggling some way in life. They have some barrier to education. I don't think COVID really helped. A lot of young people have not returned to full-time education. Social media and access to the internet mean a lot of young people spend a lot of time at home, in their bedrooms, on their phones, and not engaging in activities with other young people. So what we try to provide across all of our programmes is that recipe of doing something with other people in the outdoors that is of some benefit to nature. And we talk about the 3 C's in the Green Team. We talk about connection to nature, connection to other people, and connection to oneself. So just bringing our own authentic self to our experiences. And we're out today with our Green Explorers group, which is one of the most joyful programmes we have. Angela and I are watching them at the moment. They're at the top of a hill. They're about to do some nature drawing.
They've met some dogs with a bit of a challenge.
And they're full of energy, they're full of curiosity. These young people, you know, they know that they like being outside. They know that they like climbing trees and running around and playing games, and they come with knowledge about animals, about biodiversity, and we just build on that natural curiosity and that natural love of nature. So I think this is a really pivotal age actually to start getting involved in these programs. Green Explorers is one of my favourites, I think.
It seems great, and I think at that age kids have just got so much energy in them, it's sort of bursting out of them.
Yes.
So bringing them here and running around and doing all this is just fantastic for them.
And we very much, we engage them in play, partly because play is part of natural human development. And I think one of the things that we're losing as a society is children being children. There's this big push to grow up and to have everything that adults have. And even with our teenage groups, we do a lot of playing. We run around, we play games, we do cooperative things, we negotiate about the rules, we have laughter, we have joy, and it's just absolutely fantastic. But I think letting kids really enjoy that playfulness. One of the things that saddens me is that when children change from going to primary school to going to secondary school, they can be in P7 and they can be really playing games, cooperative games in the playground. It could be around a football, it could be any sort of game. They make it up together, and they move into S1 in high school, and all of a sudden, after just a few months of the summer holidays, they're expected to be a completely different child.
Yeah, and there's a change in mindset as well, isn't there? I suppose they suddenly are looking at those that are older than them, and they suddenly start thinking they have to behave differently.
Yes.
But they don't have to stop playing.
No.
I've been out with 2 different providers to do recordings, which are on the podcast, who do things for adults in the outdoors. And what's been really interesting is both of them have said to me that we all forget how to play, and that when you play games, particularly as you head into senior school and beyond, any games you do play outside have got rules.
Yes.
And actually it's really good to get outside and do things that don't have rules, even as adults.
Yeah. And I think that in the green team, we play this sort of duality, I suppose, in that everything we do is risk assessed and we are very conscious of health and safety. Andrew, I'm just going to interrupt because we've just seen a deer. There's a deer just on the hill right behind us, very close to us. Can you see it just through the trees?
Yes, I see.
It's come very close to us.
Yeah, that's because we're being so quiet and calm.
If our Green Explorers group was here just now,
it wouldn't come anywhere near us.
Quite so close. So in the green team, we have a sort of duality between running projects, programs that are very aware of health and safety. So, we're risk assessing everything, we're managing our group, we're keeping everybody safe. But within that, we like to give children as much freedom as possible. And we like to hear their voices and their opinions. And so, for example, if we're going to have a game, we'll let them decide the rules together so that they can work together as a group to decide, what are we going to play, how are we going to play it. And it's a really good skill to let kids have a little bit of responsibility. I mean, we also love, even at this age, with Green Explorers who we're out with today, 8 to 12-year-olds, we introduce them to fire. We show them how to make fire in a little bit more of a traditional way than just lighting a match. We also show them how to put fires out safely. We sometimes do whittling. We have knives, very sharp knives, that we show them how to whittle a stick with. And because we give them responsibility, we introduce the activity in a really safe and measured way, and we do have rules around how to operate with a knife. Everybody rises to the challenge of being really responsible, and it's fantastic, and we love it.
It's nice. That is really good, isn't it? I think that's such a good thing, because I think risk is quite important, isn't it, for children to you have to do the risk assessment, you have to know that there's no risk, but there is something good about putting children in a position where they feel there's an element of risk.
Yes. I wouldn't say there is no risk. I think anything that we do outside, because we can't control absolutely everything, there is always going to be an element of risk. But there's an element of risk if you're walking down Prince's Street and there's traffic or something like that. But I think it's that having that awareness that we don't want young people to grow up in a world where they just think everything has been made safe for them. So I think sometimes accidents do happen. Generally, it might be a cut or a graze or something like that, some boisterous behaviour, but nothing that is life-threatening. That's the sort of risk that we would try and avoid. But I think realising that you can't sanitise everything and that young people have a responsibility themselves to keep themselves and each other safe to a certain extent.
But also to agree the rules. I think that's really healthy by getting them to think of what the rules might be. That's not letting them go out of control. It's just letting them feel that they're making decisions.
Yes,
I think that magpie is hoping that there are picnics.
I was out here on Tuesday with one of our other groups, a programme called Green Shoots, and it's young people who have been referred to us because they are experiencing some kind of difficulty or disadvantage. And possibly this very magpie, was watching them and their biscuits and things like that. I don't know if there's any food here. No.
They have packed lunches, don't they? But I'm hoping they're inside their rucksacks. He's looking around for something, isn't he?
But just going back to that, giving young people, agency and choice, it is so important to hear from them what it is that they're interested in doing. And although with all of our programmes we have a plan, we have a structure, we have an idea of what we're going to be doing that day, if young people are particularly interested in some activity or they have curiosity around something, we just allow that to develop and we would keep doing that. We don't say, oh no, our plan says, it's 11:20, we must stop this activity and move on to something else. So it's very child-led, it's very intuitive. Our staff are very experienced and used to working with groups. They can flex and adapt beautifully to what the interests of the group are. I think I might have to go
now in the back
interfere with the magpie. I'll just
the
check
greedy
that
magpie. She obviously knows to come here.
Yes, this must be a popular place.
They're rogues, magpies, generally. So the kids you've got today have signed up because they've found out about it. How did they find out about it?
Well, we do have a website and we do post on social media, but I think probably word of mouth is our the strongest way. The recommendation. Parents speak to each other, obviously, and they may say, my son had a really good time on Green Explorers and your children would enjoy it as well. Sometimes, as has happened today, somebody who comes to Green Explorers brings a friend to try it out. I think for children at this age, if they see something visual, they don't always know that they're going to enjoy it. And it's quite a brave thing to turn up for an activity just by yourself. So sometimes they come with friends. Sometimes we have a big cohort from one primary school where all the kids get on really well and they decide to come out on Green Explorers as a group. But what we found is that children grow up and they get older, and we've had a large group of our previous Green Explorers who've now moved on to our next age range of programme, which is called Green Volunteers. So at the age of 12 they can move up to that programme, and that is a lot more based around doing practical work. So that involves using tools, doing practical work in green spaces, learning a bit more about the environment. So it's just a step up. This Green Explorers programme, it's very much just engaging with nature in a joyful way, learning a few new skills. It could be firelighting, it could be whittling, it could be identifying things, and really just engaging in nature. So we've got a bit of a gap at the moment. We are looking for some new 8-year-olds to come and join Green Explorers. And what we find is that once they've joined, they just keep coming.
Yeah,
they love it
I
so
bet
much.
they do.
And it's so nice for kids to meet other children who don't go to their school sometimes because they have different relationships. To have a cohort of friends outside your school group, for some kids find it really hard to make friends in school, or the dynamics just don't really work for them. But if they've got another group of friends who do something out of school, that can be a really beneficial thing. And as we know, poor mental well-being and issues with mental health is just absolutely on the rise. Not so much at this 8 to 12 age range, but what we try to do is instill strategies that work so that as young people get older, they can remember the time they had the freedom and they had the enjoyment and the pleasure of being outdoors, that's something that they can just come back to throughout their lives, really.
I think that thing you said about doing something that's not in your school group is really important. I do think it's healthy for kids to mix with people who are not from their school group, because you don't know what all the tensions and issues within that school group are either.
Yeah, that's right. And they behave differently. And when I was talking about our 3 C's, our connection to nature, connection to others, and connection to self, I think connection to self is the most intangible, but it is exactly that. It's being yourself. And again, maybe not so much with the 8 to 12s, but 8 to 12-year-olds are more mature. Are they more mature? They aspire to be, perhaps than a long time ago. But who am I really? Or am I putting on some sort of face or persona to go to school? Is that my protection? And actually, I just really want to be myself and not to be judged by others. And I think that's one of the things that we can offer, is that sort of authenticity of self.
Yeah. I was quite interested in that thing you said early on about post-COVID, that some kids haven't gone back into education.
Yeah, they just dropped out. Right. So I think because of the learning at home, and I think schools did a magnificent job in trying to keep the learning going through COVID, a lot of kids they just don't want to go back to school. And I think the schools are very good at understanding that it's not truancy, it's not bad behaviour, it is that they temperamentally, they're just finding it really difficult to engage with school. There's a lot more recognition about neurodiversity, and I think a lot of the neurodivergent young people particularly find school a very difficult environment to fit into. We work a lot with young people who have ADHD or an autism diagnosis at this 8 to 12-year-old age and further, all the way up to 18, and they are often the ones who find it a little bit more difficult to make friends. They find it a little bit more difficult to engage in the school environment, which it's quite prescriptive. It's a lot more flexible, I think, than it used to be even 20 years ago, but they do find it hard to fit in and they need adjustments, and sometimes that adjustment is that they don't really attend school full time. They may be on a part-time timetable. So what we have to offer in the Green Team is very suitable, because we're very prepared to give individual support to understand these barriers that these young people are facing. It's not that necessarily that they're not academic, it's just that they're finding it really hard to engage with school in the way that, because school has to cater for the majority, not the minority.
Yeah. But also, I always think that when they're at school, it's a confrontational situation, isn't it? You're looking at someone.
Yeah.
And for neurodivergent people, I know it's quite hard to do that one-to-one engagement thing. Yeah. And so something like this is a great way to help them just learn strategies, I suppose.
And it's also quite practical. I was out with one of our other groups, slightly older young people, and one of them said just how much they loved coming out on the programme because they found school really challenging. And they, in that particular group, are working towards the Forest and Outdoor Learning Award. So we have some accredited award schemes that we can help them work to, where they are demonstrating their understanding of the environment, they're demonstrating the practical skills that go into managing the countryside and green spaces, where they're learning to identify habitats and species, and that they can then get an award to say that they have achieved something which is useful in school.
Useful in school, but useful in their career, useful, and just a sense of achievement, I suppose. Yeah. People like a purpose, don't they?
Yes. But what is so wonderfully dynamic about where we have our programmes, the Green Team is exclusively an outdoor organisation, and we were talking earlier about risks and health and safety. We do always check the weather forecast, but whether it's raining or possibly snowing or windy, we will go out as long as it's safe. And it's the dynamic nature of the outdoors that is just so wonderful. And we as humans respond to it. I mean, the wind, it makes dogs go a little bit wild. It definitely makes children go a little bit wild.
Yeah.
But it's so exciting. And there's different seasons that we're out in. Everything, nature is constantly changing, and it's that dynamic backdrop to our programs that just means something is always happening that is interesting and exciting and can just heighten our curiosity.
And I think they're up there, they're sitting in some lovely sunshine, aren't they? And I think that it's not like your bedroom or your house or whatever where it just stays the same. It's different and it's fun. How did you get into doing the green team then? What was your background that made you get into it?
So my background was really in countryside management. So I'd been working as a countryside ranger until I saw the job opportunity with the green team. So I brought with me some practical skills, some group management skills, and it's been really interesting over the years as the organisation has grown that I've become less the person who actually goes out on projects and more the person who has done fundraising and payroll and managing a charity. So it's such a privilege when I do get to come out and see the projects actually happening on the ground. I think our delivery staff have, they have a lovely skill set because we're really asking quite a lot of our staff for any particular project day, that they have to both have the skills and the knowledge to engage young people in and around the environment, practical conservation skills, so picking up tools and planting trees and clearing vegetation. They have to know about health and safety and risk assessment. They have to know about child protection. We ask them to evaluate because a lot of our programs are grant funded, so the funders really need to know that we are successful in everything that we say that we're going to achieve. They have to do a site visit before they come out. They have to plan every part of their day, even if they're going to be flexible and adaptable, and they have to put all that planning into effect to make it look as if it's completely seamless, but it's because we do such good planning that things do seem to go so very smoothly actually on the day. It's a great skill set, being able to work with different ages of young people and being able to manage an outdoor project. And we're out with Struan today, and Struan has a particular skill and knowledge around foraging. So I believe nettle soup is on the menu for today. And it's great because our different staff have different expertise, different interests and knowledge. Some are very good at identifying birds or plants. We have staff who are interested in environmental storytelling. But Struan's thing is he knows about foraging and plants and things like that.
That's a nice thing to do, and I must say the thought for kids that age to go and pick nettles and make some soup, because you think nettles, you just think of them as bad, don't you, when you're that age? You just tread on them, and to actually think that they could go and pick them.
Yes, but that's the disconnection from nature, is that we're losing the knowledge and the folklore about plants. And back in the day, it would have been passed from generation to generation, but we've lost that knowledge somewhere, so we can't pass it on to our children, how to identify trees or to know if something is edible. And nettles are edible when they're young, and they won't hurt you if you pick them in a certain way. And children love that. If you show them how to pick a nettle without getting stung, they're like, wow, that's so amazing.
Right. So you've also got Katrina up there with Struan and the kids today. She's a volunteer.
She is a volunteer, but she used to be a participant.
Oh, did she?
So Katrina has been with us for some years. She used to participate on one of our programmes called Skylarks, which is a girls-only programme. And Katrina was involved with that for many years. And she got a little bit older, and she said, would it be possible to come back and be one of our volunteers? So we have a lot of adults who volunteer to support our programmes, and we do like high ratios of adults to young people for various reasons, partly for safety, partly for individual support. And it's great. So adults who are just keen to work with young people in the outdoors, who they themselves know the benefits of and the enjoyment of being outside with young people. And it's great to be able to offer that sort of opportunity to some of our young people who've come through our programmes and can then give something back and, you know, offer their time to come and support the programmes. And they're the perfect people in a way, because they know exactly how things run and what the day is all about.
Well, they've also got the enthusiasm. That's great. That's really nice that she came. And are you interested in more volunteers?
I think if there's anybody out there who has a passion for supporting young people in the outdoors, either weekends, projects like this one on Green Explorers, or more so during the week when we have quite a lot of projects working with schools. We've always got a Green Team member of staff who's ultimately in charge, but, you know, just giving that extra bit of support and engagement for some of our teenage groups during the week, yes, we'd be very pleased to hear from people.
Here they come back from there.
I wonder if they're going to come and tell us what they've been doing. Hello.
Is it nice up there? Is it a bit windy? Or were you out of the wind? Oh, what have you drawn?
This is landscape.
Fantastic. Oh, that's great.
Really
I'm
nice.
going to write what it's called. I don't even know how to spell sketch.
Sketch. Would you like me to tell you?
Yeah.
Okay. We were watching you in the sunshine.
Yeah,
It was nice. Well, we've been in a good spot without any wind and in the sun.
Oh, you're in the right place.
I know. I was like, we shouldn't be here.
Good.
Katrina drew everyone on the hill. Let's look at the ones we got. I think this one was. This one was Jacobs. It's Jacobs. And he did his little code thing. So what does that say?
Apparently it says Pentland Hills.
It does. It does say
Oh.
Pentland Hills. Do you know what his code is?
Yes.
Near
What did you draw?
Well, this is a code.
Oh, you've done a code.
He's messed.
Oh, you're all a bit clever for me.
I know, this is very
Codes are hard. Oh, I like your picture. Can I take a picture of your picture? There we go.
Mine.
Yeah, Max has captured a lot of life in his. It feels like they're moving. Oh, good. This is the
See if you can crack this code. Crack it.
Oh, you got a code, haven't you?
Is it Pentland?
That says Pentland Hills.
Pentland Hills, okay.
A.
Yes.
So if that's A, that's
Is it?
S, K.
Oh,
It's
sketch.
like
Is
the
it sketch?
letter after,
Sketch.
isn't it?
Sketch.
Sketch
Sketch.
On the Pentland Hills.
of
Oh.
a.
Landscape. There you go. There you go.
Oh.
So who's going to be the hider? I think Rory's going to be the hider.
I'll play just at once.
What?
Just
Okay, finish that off and then Rory will hide. So you're going to count, where are you counting to?
excellent.
Should we count to 30?
Yeah.
Okay, are you ready?
Yeah.
You go.
So I'm now going to talk to you, Struan. So welcome to Edinburgh Outdoors, Struan.
Thank you. Yes, lovely to be here.
very
Lovely
nice
to be
to
on the
meet you.
podcast, yes.
We've already heard you anyway because we've been talking and
Yes.
hearing the games.
Do tend to have quite a loud voice during these sort of sessions, so yes, I'm sure you have.
It sounds good fun. So you've been up the hill.
Right, guys, do you want to come and sit over with
Yeah, so we've
What
been
else?
up the hill. We arrived today and
Happy Dan.
we decided to go up the hill because it's a lovely day. It's really sunny, and so we thought we'd come up the hill and have a little kind of sketching session. We could look at the landscape, do some observing, and the kids' drawings were really lovely. So they kind of captured a lot of the nice woods, but they also captured some of the man-made stuff that's around. So it was nice
Yeah.
to see them kind of observing all that. Yeah.
That is good. And you found a nice warm spot, which is quite good as well.
Yes, a warm spot out the wind. It's
You've
not
done,
really
the,
sunny, but
you've done the quickest ever game of sardines.
yes, absolutely.
And now
Yeah,
we're
it's
playing
pretty
another
quick.
one. And I hear you're a forager.
I am a forager, yes. I do quite like food. I have another job and I work for a greengrocer, so I'm quite keen on foraging and getting the kids involved in wild food and stuff. So today, hopefully, we're going to forage some nettles and cook some soup. Well, hopefully, actually, I thought there'd be some more nettles here and I haven't seen any yet, so we might have to go on a little hunt for those. But I have brought stuff to make some, so we're going to make wild garlic and nettle soup if we can find some nettles. If we can't find nettles, we'll just have wild garlic soup because I brought some of that with me today. Yeah, I'm quite keen on getting the kids to kind of taste their environment or experience it in different ways, and like I feel like through food is an easy way to engage kids. So I've been here before to Bonaly Country Park and we've done blaeberry picking in the autumn, and we made blaeberry jam, and then we had that on waffles over the fire, which was really lovely. So yeah, I like to try and find ways to get the kids to not only play in the landscape and see it and hear it, but also taste it and experience it in a different way. Yeah,
How did you get into doing this? Not the foraging.
No, the foraging, just the green team. Yeah, so I studied ecological and environmental science at university, and so I always was interested in the outdoors and like love nature and birds and bird watching and all that stuff. So, and my family are very outdoors people. Like we've done a lot of hill walking and holidays in Scotland and outdoorsy stuff, so we've done a lot of that. And so I think when I finished university, I wanted to go into working in the environment, but maybe with outreach, so as to give people more access to the environment. And so I was working for the Science Festival one year, the Edinburgh Science Festival, and I met David, who works for the Green Team as well, and he suggested that I start volunteering with the Green Team. So I started volunteering in 2019 with the Green Team, and I volunteered all the way until 2024, and then I got my job with the Green Team. After that point, we got some new funding from the council to do work with schools, and also we needed someone to run our Green Explorers, which is what we're doing today. We spend a lot of time outside doing things that are connecting us to nature, doing different activities that give us a more of a feel for the green spaces around us. So Green Explorers always happens in Edinburgh, so we don't go very far. We always pick green spaces that are nice and accessible, so as everyone can get to them nice and easily, and we just try and give the kids a sense of their local environment. That is mostly through games and foods and making sure that everyone's having a nice day and getting along with each other. And we have a really good group of kids today. They're really enjoying it. Some of them are friends already, but some of them are new to each other, and it's nice to see as the day goes on they all become a bit more cohesive as a group, and that's really lovely.
They are having a nice time. And they're at that age where they're really loud.
So I have worked on the other programmes. So I've worked on Green Shoots. We also do that, which is for kids who are struggling in the traditional school environment. They come out of school for 1 day a week for say 8 weeks and do conservation tasks and nature connection stuff out in the woods with us. So I've spent some time doing that, and actually that was the first thing I did with Green Team was Green Shoots. I think I've been out on most of our Green Shoots programmes now. I've also done a bit of Thrive, which is our programme that supports young people with their mental health, and they go out actually all year. The same group goes out on a Monday and they go to the same place and do conservation tasks and nature connection stuff. And that's just to support young people with their mental health. Sorry, there's a bottle getting thrown behind us now. It's like very active. I feel like it's that game where you're trying to get the bottle to, you throw it and it tries to get it to stand up when you drop it.
Yeah.
Very hard on a slopey, grassy mound.
Particularly here, but it's good to have a challenge.
Yes, absolutely. And then, a bigger part of my particular job now is to go into primary schools and deliver nature connection, outdoor education sessions there. Yeah. So we often go to local parks, or sometimes we do things in the playground. We look at bird life and mini beasts, and I work in primary schools that are experiencing disadvantage, and so that's a big part of my job during the week. Sometimes I do nurture groups, which are small groups of kids, kind of 6 to 8, and we spend time outside because they are struggling in their classroom environment. But we do it just for 2 hours a day in primary schools, and that can be really beneficial, I think. A lot of kids get a lot out of it, I think, and that is really useful.
Do you enjoy it?
I really enjoy it, yeah. I mean, it's great being able to work outside most of the time and getting to come to lots of lovely green spaces. I mean, Green Team has helped me discover a lot of green spaces in Edinburgh that I'd never been to before. I don't think I'd ever been to Bonaly Country Park where we are today until I came with Green Team, when I came with Green Shoots the first time I was volunteering.
Where's your favourite space in and around Edinburgh?
Where's my favourite space in and around Edinburgh?
That people might like to discover.
There's a really lovely little woods down in Collington called Redford Woods, and I like to take Green Explorers there now quite a lot, and I've been there with a few other groups too. And it's kind of tucked away right behind the Tesco, and you just wouldn't know it was there, and it's got a lovely stream running through it, and it's a really alive and natural woodland with a lot of kind of nice cover and a lot of wildlife. And it really is just completely tucked away in the middle of houses.
You don't know it's there.
You don't know it's there,
funny,
and loads of people don't know it's there. I think unless you live really near, you're unaware. And it's nice to be able to bring people to those spaces and have them enjoy it and experience it. Yeah, that's really nice. And I think I would recommend lots of people go and discover it because it is beautiful, and it's a really fun place for kids to explore. It's not big, but it's lots of hiding places, lots of little nooks and crannies. Like there's the stream, there's the deep kind of dark blackthorn bit of the woods.
That sounds good. Great, thank you. So, hi Katrina.
Hiya.
You're a volunteer here today, is that right?
Yeah, that's right.
And how did you get into doing this?
Well, I was a participant in Green Team for a few years myself. So I was in the teenage programs, mainly Skylarks. So that's the teenage program for girls.
Yeah. Ah, right. So they've got one that's specifically just for girls.
Yeah.
Was that good?
Yeah, I enjoyed that.
Right. And that helped you through teens, did it? Was it a good thing to do at that time?
Yeah, I mean, especially during exams, and it would be once a month. Just a whole day out in nature was definitely a great thing during exams.
So now you've come back to volunteer
Yeah.
to help with it, but it's
Yeah.
not your day job.
No.
What do you
no.
do normally?
I'm on a gap year. I'm just figuring things out, really. Yeah, volunteering and looking for work. Yeah.
Oh, nice way to spend your gap year.
Looking into childcare and things like that.
Well, you've got all the practice with these guys. If you
Yeah.
can control these guys.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Max, behind that tree, a bat is running in, trying to get in to go 1, 2, 3. Max, but if you get there first, you call him out and then he's out.
Yeah, but if I get there first,
If you
then
get
I
there first,
win.
then you win.
There are a couple of questions I just asked people who were on the podcast at the end. I've already asked Struan where his favourite place is in Edinburgh.
I have so many favourite places. I think Edinburgh is one of the best cities to get out into green spaces. I mean, we've got Arthur's Seat, we've got Hermitage of Braid, we've got Camo Estate, we've got Corstorphine Hill. I spend a lot of time on Corstorphine Hill these days with groups, and I was there just 2 days ago, and it's just such a brilliant place. Woodland, lovely views across the city. Yeah, there's so many places in Edinburgh to get out to. It's a real favourite.
And what does being in the outdoors mean to you?
Oh, it means absolutely everything to me. It is, I don't think I can stay inside for very long. I just need to be outside. It gladdens my heart, it clears my head, it makes me feel good about the world. I just love it. It's dynamic, it's full of life.
Has there ever been a time when it's really helped you, when you've been having a difficult time and it's helped you in some?
I think going for walks is one of the things I really rely on, just to get my thoughts in order, just to get some perspective. You know, if I'm having a down day, it's just great to get out for a walk. It's just the rhythm of walking sometimes. It just helps regulate your thoughts and your feelings. It's just the best thing to do, really.
Good. Well, thank you. I'm going to leave you because you want to get back to this game, which
I was
I
rather
can
enjoying
remember
that
playing
game.
this as a child.
There you
It's
go.
great fun.
Yeah, you can
So
play it for hours.
Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you,
to show me.
Angela.
It's been really nice coming out here. Sunday morning, out in the hills. It's lovely.
Yes.
And I've enjoyed seeing the boys play because it's just so much fun.
Doing what they enjoy.
It's great.
Absolutely.
So thank you very much.
Great, thank you.
That was a great way to spend a Sunday morning, and I really enjoyed being out in the sunshine and meeting the incredibly inspiring guides who are managing those programmes for the Green Team in Edinburgh. The Green Team's a charity. You can find out more about it by going onto their website, which you'll find in the blurb at the end of the podcast. And thank you for listening to Edinburgh Outdoors. If you enjoyed the podcast, please rate us on your podcast app and leave a review. And don't forget to tell your friends, family or colleagues about it too. And of course, if you know of an outdoors space or person in or around Edinburgh that might like to be featured, you can get in touch via email, Blue Sky, Instagram or Facebook.